Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Building Better Bodies with Deven and the Docs. But we have one Doc and one Brandy, so it should be Deven and the Doc and Brandy. And
we just need to retitle this.
That's okay. Yeah, but sometimes we have more than one Doc. We've had two Docs or three Docs in the past. So here's the deal, guys. Just a refresher, I'm Dr. Amir Rashidian. Brandy Rashidian is my wife, and Deven Brady is the personal trainer, bodybuilding coach, and the expert. And what we were talking about today before we started recording is that it's one of those times where people go to the gym again, and they actually want to go to the gym, they want to do something. So I want you to start by telling us why this is one of the two times.
Yeah, so I was thinking to myself about a really great topic for discussion. It's very timely here that it's almost July. We're getting into the heat of summer outside. And I thought to myself, there's really two times of year where most people most often make physical-based commitments, okay? And to me, that's obviously January 1, our New Year's resolutions. Take a lot of time to jump on that as a way of fixing bad habits, looking towards the future, health and wellness. And the other time is summer, right? It's hot. We're wearing less clothing. We're exposing more skin. We're going to the pool. We're going to tropical locales. We're going to places where we're wearing less clothing. We want to be more comfortable with ourselves. So those times are where summer is where people are looking to lose a few extra pounds, maybe shape up, maybe tone up, maybe get some shape. So when I look at these two times, I say, okay, people are making a lot of commitments in the first of the year and now in summertime. So what makes those most effective? What separates the people who achieve those goals from those people that unfortunately fall short or regress or fall back? And to me, I basically devised three major principles that I think you can keep in mind if you are one of those people I'm talking about who's looking to do something specific this summer physically, and ways that you can make that most successful, okay? And way number one is we all look to the calendar to help drive our daily lives, right? We're all busy. We all have responsibilities. So dates are important. They help us function. They give us something to look towards, something to work towards. But we have to understand that we need to make dates work with us, not against us. And what I mean is that if we set a date, if we say, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds by this summer, and you put it in the frame of a few months during the summertime, then we have to realize that we need to make that a functional date. It needs to be a goal. What we can't do is, if we have bad habits, we can't just simply wake up on the date that we've devised and expect for us to be a whole new person. We can't allow that date to drive the motivation, to drive the action, but rather it has to kind of guide us towards a goal. So please, if you're setting goals for yourself at home, if you're using dates, my first piece of advice is build up to that. Don't wait. Don't put that much pressure on yourself. And this is to the procrastinators out there. Don't wait for the last minute to have radical body diet changes overnight, because chances are very good that it's not going to happen. So work your way up towards the date. There's nothing wrong with setting a date, but we've got to build towards it.
I like that. And what comes to mind actually is even having some additional ramp up dates. Because I know for some of us, this may or may not have ever happened, when you have the date set, you tend to get into that mindset where you're like, okay, now I know I want to lose 10 pounds, so I'm going to have to stop eating X, Y, and Z starting July 1. So this weekend is like my last weekend ever, for I don't know how long to have that cookie, but that one cookie, as we talked about, turns into a sleeve of cookies or a dozen cookies. And so, and then there's the chocolate cake that's sitting there that, you have to throw out, on the 31st. Because you can't have that sitting there. So then there's a fork there. You got to finish it because you don't throw away food.
Because we are the human garbage disposal.
That's right. So, and your parents told you don't waste food. And so there's all these things that are ingrained in us. I don't even think we realize that they're actual triggers. And we end up going crazy, and then we feel awful come that date. We have all these sugar cravings. We have all these. It makes that time so much more difficult. Where if we took 2 or 3 weeks and said, okay, this week, I'm not a soda drinker, but I know there are a lot of people who are. So maybe they, decrease their soda intake by 1 or 2 that week. Or, so I think there are things you can do to help make that date more successful.
Exactly. And that segues so naturally into point number 2, which is a wonderful example, and that's build positive momentum. Okay. So if step 1 is we're creating an effective date and working towards that, Number 2 is roll into that date with positive momentum, okay? And what Brandy, the example she just shared with you, is a perfect example of 2 ways to approach it. One is to start to recognize your bad habits, recognize those things that you're trying to change as a function of the commitment, and start to make small incremental changes as you approach your start date. And that's going to allow it to be easier. Your soda drinking example was very poignant. If you're a heavy soda drinker and you want to eliminate soda from your diet, again, that's a harsh goal, but it's one that's reasonable. So again, what we don't want to do is just wake up one day after drinking 12 sodas a day and just say, okay, today I'm stopping cold turkey. We all realize that that's probably not going to be most effective. But rather, if we take the few weeks preceding that date to start to slowly and methodically eliminate that soda a little bit at a time, we're building positive momentum. So by the time we get to the date where you're effectively going to start eliminating all soda intake, you've already reduced your soda intake by 80% over the preceding 2 to 3 weeks. So therefore, it's not as much of a staggering difference to just eliminate that last little bit from your diet and take control back for yourself. So doing those little incremental steps and not relying wholly on the date to transform our bodies or motivations, but by building small bits of positive momentum leading up to that date, your chances of a successful commitment skyrocket.
I agree, and I was just thinking about this as you're talking, and I think that what it will also assist with is course correction during that process, because it's hard when you're coming off of being used to eating a certain way, whether it be you're a heavy carb eater or soda drinker. You're going to be tempted. Life happens, so you're going to be at a party. It's going to be much easier to go, you know what, I'll have that burger without that dog or without that bun, you know what I mean. I'll be able to make those course corrections much more easily because I've already trained myself to do that.
Exactly.
Success.
So the third, which brings us to our third and final of the core tenets here, and that is think long term. Okay, so whenever we're talking about a commitment, it's often framed very easily in a nice convenient box, like, oh, I want to get ready for this vacation. I want to look better by this trip, or I want to get better by this date. What we have to understand, what we have to break ourselves from, the bad habit there is thinking small, okay? So if you're preparing for a vacation, that's not a bad goal. It's a good goal. Anything that motivates you to better yourself is a good goal. But we can think better. We can go beyond that. We can take a more mature approach to that. And what that means is, let's think long term. Let's think about instilling habits. Let's think about instilling good behavioral patterns, good course corrections for your life that will persist far beyond. For example, we'll go back to our friend, the soda drinker from our hypothetical. Let's just say he wants to eliminate all soda from his diet by X date, right? And we set that date hard on the calendar. We work towards it. We build positive momentum. We're ready to go, so that by the time the date starts, we've already eliminated 80% of soda intake, and then that last little bit, albeit probably the toughest, will come with practice and discipline. What we have to understand is that don't think of it as just that goal, because then once we've achieved the goal, what then? Okay, so once we have soda eliminated, what does that mean? We have to continue to live. We have to continue to thrive. We have to continue to find ways to enjoy ourselves, enjoy our nutrition. We're going to be going places where soda is widely available. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're done with soda forever? Does that mean we don't, we have to think long term. So for those folks that are preparing for a vacation, that vacation's going to come. You're going to have it. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be filled with memories and wonderful times. And hopefully you're going to make all your physical goals happen before you get there. But then guess what? You're going to get back. Life will return to normal. So what does that mean? Do we want to take those good practices that we've instilled in preparation for that vacation and roll them into a healthier lifestyle? That's what I would advise. Think long term. Think about making behavioral changes that can become ingrained as part of your daily habits to just be more generally healthy. So that once the goal comes, we manage to meet that goal and succeed that goal, but then we continue to live a healthier life well beyond. So always try to think long term.
Agreed. And I think it's not a bad idea to kind of take and move yourself into the future and think about the next vacation after this. What if you didn't have to have that entire ramp up and that entire, process where you're trying to get to this place, which may or may not be, more difficult, think about that next vacation where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm looking pretty good. Now I'm going to just take it the next step. I'm going to go to the next level, as opposed to having to relive that level over and over again, like the Super Mario level you can't pass, right? With the kids, like I don't want to be there again. Like I want to get past that and go on to a new challenge. So I think going past that and really thinking on to the next.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, for sure. And I also want to say, while you're on vacation, stay focused.
Yeah.
Because you can go on vacation and the first meal you have might be an indulgent meal, and you go, I already blew my diet. I'm just going to ruin it for the whole week.
Right.
But you could also say, well, I'm going to indulge one meal a day, but there's still this other meal and this other meal that I'm going to be careful about. And I'm going to set times. I'm going to set boundaries. Why should we do that? Why should we go there? And you just spent 3 months getting in shape so you could look great in your swimsuit on the beach.
Right.
But then in that 1 week, you blow the entire progress you made in that. Come back with all new bad habits and patterns that now you have to work on breaking again. Just stay focused. There was a guy, Bill Phillips, started the competition Body for Life, and he started the magazine Muscle Media, which doesn't exist anymore. But there was a quote he had that I had put on my wall and look at it every day, and it said, "Nothing tastes better than being in the best shape of your life."
Well said. Well said. So with all three of those things in mind, guys, I hope that you can take this at home, use it, and I hope the next commitments, whatever they may be, that you make yourself are a little bit more effective.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Oh, and listen, it is the beginning of summer, which means you're going to want to stop by at One Life South and ask for Deven. Walk in, get your 7-day pass. Have a week of workout on us. Check it out. See how great you feel. See how great you look already. I mean, your body can start to change quickly, and you'll notice certain things, but then you have that long-term vision to keep you going. So, but we think once you stop by and you train with Deven once or twice, you're going to want to do it all the time. So give it a shot. Take care, guys.
Bye.